Unit 5, Bus Stop. Kate runs into Linda, an old friend, at a bus stop. Listen to the conversations.
Linda, Kate, do you work around here?
Yes, I work in that building across the street.
Really? What do you do?
I'm a lawyer.
Oh, that's interesting.
What about you? What do you do?
I work at St. Anne's Hospital.
Oh, are you a nurse?
No, I'm a biologist. I do research.
Here's my bus.
That's my bus, too.
Oh, where do you live?
On Grand Avenue.
Really? Where on Grand?
At 356.
You're kidding. We're neighbors. I live on the next block.
Hi, Kate.
Hi, Eric. How are you?
Who's that?
His name's Eric Mendez. He lives in my building.
Oh, what does he do?
He's a pilot.
He's very good looking.
Do you live alone, Linda?
No, I don't. I have a roommate. How about you?
I'm married now. I got married last year.
Really? Congratulations.
Now listen to the conversations again and repeat each line.
Linda.
Kate, do you work around here?
Yes, I work in that building across the street.
Really? What do you do?
I'm a lawyer.
Oh, that's interesting.
What about you? What do you do?
I work at St. Anne's Hospital.
Oh, are you a nurse?
No, I'm a biologist. I do research.
Here's my bus.
That's my bus, too.
Oh, where do you live?
On Grand Avenue.
Really? Where on Grand?
At 356.
You're kidding. We're neighbors. I live on the next block.
Hi, Kate.
Hi, Eric. How are you?
Who's that?
His name's Eric Mendez. He lives in my building.
Oh, what does he do?
He's a pilot.
He's very good looking.
Do you live alone, Linda?
No, I don't. I have a roommate. How about you?
I'm married now. I got married last year.
Really? Congratulations.
Hello, it's nice to see you again. A new day, a new lesson, and a new topic, a new subject to talk about. Today we want to talk about using public transportations to go to work, go home, take trips, and things like that. Public transportations are like buses, trams, metros, and these sort of things. So do you ever take buses or trams or metros to go to work, or you'd rather drive your own car to go to work? Well, people have different opinions on this topic, right? Today we have two characters, Kate and Linda. They are two old friends, but they run into each other at the bus stop. Run into means to meet someone accidentally, by chance. It means you didn't plan it, from before. So these two people meet and talk to each other at the bus stop. So let's see what they talk about once more for the second time as a reinforcement. And let's listen in.
Unit 5, Bus Stop. Kate runs into Linda, an old friend, at a bus stop. Listen to the conversations.
Linda, Kate, do you work around here?
Yes, I work in that building across the street.
Really? What do you do?
I'm a lawyer.
Oh, that's interesting.
What about you? What do you do?
I work at St. Anne's Hospital.
Oh, are you a nurse?
No, I'm a biologist. I do research.
Here's my bus.
That's my bus, too.
Oh, where do you live?
On Grand Avenue.
Really? Where on Grand?
At 356.
You're kidding. We're neighbors. I live on the next block.
Hi, Kate.
Hi, Eric. How are you?
Who's that?
His name's Eric Mendez. He lives in my building.
Oh, what does he do?
He's a pilot.
He's very good looking.
Do you live alone, Linda?
No, I don't. I have a roommate. How about you?
I'm married now. I got married last year.
Really? Congratulations.
Now listen to the conversations again and repeat each line.
Linda, Kate, do you work around here?
Yes, I work in that building across the street.
Really? What do you do?
I'm a lawyer.
Oh, that's interesting.
What about you? What do you do?
I work at St. Anne's Hospital.
Oh, are you a nurse?
No, I'm a biologist. I do research.
Here's my bus.
That's my bus, too.
Oh, where do you live?
On Grand Avenue.
Really? Where on Grand?
At 356.
You're kidding. We're neighbors. I live on the next block.
Hi, Kate.
Hi, Eric. How are you?
Who's that?
His name's Eric Mendez. He lives in my building.
Oh, what does he do?
He's a pilot.
He's very good looking.
Do you live alone, Linda?
No, I don't. I have a roommate. How about you?
I'm married now. I got married last year.
Really? Congratulations.
Okay guys, now I show you the whole picture of the whole lesson, all parts and all conversations. Alright, so as you know, Now we are going to discuss a little more about some details of this lesson, right? There are some new words and expressions. For example, run into, I said already that run into means to meet someone accidentally and by chance. In part A, we have some new words and expressions. For example, do you work around here means near here, in this neighborhood. Another thing that we have in part A is across the street. I work in that building across the street, which means on the other side of the street. Then in another part we have what do you do, which means what's your job, right? And then we have biologist. Biologist is an expert in biology. Biology is a science about life, origin of life, and living things, and these sorts of things. Then in part B, let's see what we have. Well, you are kidding. In part B, it says you are kidding, which means you are joking, something like that. In part C, let's see what we have. Talks about Eric Mendes, who is a pilot. Pilot is someone who flies the plane, right? And yeah, she says he's very good looking, means handsome. Yeah. Then in part D, what do we have? Let's see. Nothing special. Yeah, there's no new word in part D as I see now. Yeah. Okay. So that's about it. All right. Now let's start talking about the exercises that we have in this lesson. Okay, first the figure it out exercise, which says say right, wrong, or I don't know. We are all familiar with this exercise. Number 1 is an example. It says Kate is a lawyer. It says right. So how do we know it is right? Because if we go back to part A, I think Linda says, what do you do? And Kate says, I'm a lawyer. That's the reason why. That's the proof we have for this answer. Okay, we have some others, and as usual I ask you to think about them. So let's go to exercise 2. One question is given to us, 2 answers, one of which is correct. So number 1, what do you do? There are 2 answers. I'm a student, she is a carpenter. So we can say A is correct because the question is about the other person, yeah, the second person, not the third person. She's a carpenter is about a third person, which is not correct here. Alright, so please, as usual, take a piece of paper, concentrate on this lesson and on these questions and these 2 exercises. I'll be back in a few minutes and we check them together, alright? Okay, let's begin now. Exercise 1, number 2. Kate, Linda and Eric live on Grand Avenue. So what do you think? What is your answer? So the answer is right. Yeah, because in part B, Kate says, where do you live? And Linda says on Grand Avenue. Really, where on Grand? At 356. Then Kate says, no kidding, we're neighbors, I live on the next block. And then about Eric Mendes, Kate says his name is Eric Mendes, he lives in my building. So we understand all these 3 people live on the same street. Number 3. Eric Mendes is a biologist. What do you think? Yeah, it is wrong, of course, because in part C it says he is a pilot. Number 4. Kate's office is 2 blocks from St. Anne's Hospital. Well, what do you think? Right, wrong, or I don't know? Yeah, we should say I don't know, in fact, because there's no information about this. Yeah, so number 4 is I don't know. Number 5, Kate is married. So what do you think? Yeah, that's right, because in part D she says I'm married now. I got married last year. Number 6, Linda lives alone. What do you think? That's wrong, of course, because Linda says I have a roommate in part D. Yeah, okay. Exercise 2. Well, we go to number 2 because we answered number 1 before. The question is, what does your wife do? 2 answers. She is a lawyer. He works in a hospital. Which one is correct? Of course, A is correct because the question is about wife, and wife is a she, not a he. So A is correct. Number 3, do they live around here? 2 answers. No, I don't. I'm not sure. Which one is correct? Sure, part B is correct because it's about they, the third person, plural. Yeah, I'm not sure is correct. No, I don't is wrong because it's not about the second person to say no, I don't. It's about the third person, plural. So B is correct. Number 4, who's that? 2 answers. It's my boss. It's Kate Chung. What do you think? B is correct. That's right, because the question is about who, the person. Boss is not a person. So B is correct. Number 5, are you a secretary? 2 answers. Yes, I am. No, I don't. What is correct? Yes, I am is correct. Sure. A is correct because the question is with the verb be, are. But part B is about do, using the verb do and don't, which is not the purpose of the question. So A is right. Number 6, do you live alone? 2 answers. No, she is married. And no, I have a roommate. Which one? A or B? B is correct, yeah. Do you live alone? No, I have a roommate. The question is not about she, right? Okay. B is correct. Number 7, what about you? 2 answers. I'm a biologist. I don't know. Which one is correct? Yes. A is correct. I'm a biologist. We can't say I don't know because it's impossible that we don't know our jobs. So it's crazy to say that. Yeah. So A is correct. Number 8, where do you work? 2 answers. Yes, I do. Across the street. What is correct? Yes, B is correct because it's about work, and of course it gives the information about work across the street. Yes, I do is a short answer to yes-no question. This is not a yes-no question. It's an information question, and we should explain it. All right? Okay. So that's it for this part. Now let's look at the comprehension dialogue. All right? Let's see.
Cafeteria. Carolyn runs into Maggie in a cafeteria. Maggie's on her lunch hour. 1. Comprehension dialogue. Listen to the conversation.
Hi, Maggie. Carolyn, nice to see you. Have a seat. Thanks. How are you doing? Fine. How about you? Oh, I'm fine, thanks. Do you work around here? Yes, I work at Brooklyn Hospital. Oh, what kind of work do you do? I'm a lab technician.
That sounds interesting.
Yes, it's a good job. What do you do?
Me? Oh, I'm an actress.
Really? How exciting.
Well, I'm out of work.
Oh, that's not so exciting.
No, it isn't. Right now, I'm looking for an office job.
Well, I hope you find something. Anyway, speaking of work, I've got to get back to the hospital. See you later.
Bye.
folks, now it's time to think about the figure it out exercise and also the other one which follows it. So let's go over the examples that we have. So figure it out says, say right, wrong, or I don't know, as usual. Number one is an example. It says Maggie works in a hospital. It is right, and of course we should find out why it is right, what evidence we can declare from the conversation to prove it is right. And the rest of the sentences. The second exercise, find another way to say it. Number one, how are you? How are you doing? How are you doing is more informal than how are you. So we should find sentences in the conversation which have the same meaning, right? And we should write them as alternatives. Okay, so think about it for a short time, then we discuss them together. Okay, so let's begin now. Number one, Maggie works in a hospital. So, how do we know it is right? If we refer to the conversation that we have, we can see that Maggie says, I work at Brooklyn Hospital. So this is the proof for this. Number two, Carolyn has a good job. What do you think? The answer is wrong because Carolyn says, I'm out of work, yeah? So she doesn't have a good job now. Number three, Maggie is a lab technician. What do you say? What do you think? Yeah, it is right because in the conversation Maggie says clearly, I'm a lab technician. Yeah. Number four, Carolyn works for an office. What do you think? It is wrong, of course, because she says, I'm looking for an office job. She doesn't have it now. Number five, Brooklyn Hospital is across from the cafeteria. What do you think? I don't know, because there is no information here in this conversation. So the answer is, I don't know. Number six, Maggie's job is interesting. What do you think? Yeah, the answer is right because she says it's interesting, right? Let's go back to the conversation and see what she says. She says, Maggie says, I'm a lab technician. Carolyn says, that sounds interesting. Maggie says, yes, it's a good job. Yeah? She confirms that it is interesting. So the answer is right. Okay? Okay, exercise 2. Find another way to say it. Number 1, we talked about it before. How are you? How are you doing? Very informal, of course. Number 2, I'm unemployed. What do you think? What do we have in the conversation which means the same? Yeah, I'm out of work. That's right. I'm out of work means I'm unemployed. Number 3, do you work in the neighborhood? So, what else do we have in the conversation with the same meaning? Do you work around here? That's right. Do you work around here? Means the same. Number 4, sit down. What can we say? What else? Have a seat. Okay, that's right. Have a seat. Number 5, what do you do? What else do we have with with the same meaning? What kind of work do you do? That's right. Alright, so that's it. And by the way, I thought it wouldn't be a bad idea to give you the whole picture of the cafeteria and all the conversations that we have, and so that we see what's happening in the cafeteria and how it looks like before we discuss each exercise separately. Now we come across some other conversations which take place at the cafeteria, and we take a closer look at each one of them and discuss them separately.
Page 39. 3. Listen in. Jane, the woman below, is having lunch with an old friend, Joe. Read the statements below. Then listen to the conversation and choose A, B, or C.
So, Jane, how's everything?
Good. How are things with you?
Oh, not bad. Say, how's your roommate Kathy Simmons, the lawyer?
Oh, she's fine, but I don't live with Kathy anymore.
You don't?
No. Remember Bill Evans?
Yeah.
Well, we got married. We live in Queens now.
Oh, congratulations.
Which is the correct answer? 1. Jane lives A. Alone. B. With Kathy Simmons. C. With her husband. 2. A. Jane. B. Kathy Simmons. C. Bill Evans is a lawyer.
Okay, folks, let's see what the answers are. Number 1, we have 3 answers for that. Jane lives alone with Kathy Simmons with her husband. Which one did you choose? C. Alright. Jane lives with her husband. Okay. Number 2, Jane, Kathy Simmons, Bill Evans is a lawyer. Which one of them did you choose? B. Kathy Simmons is a lawyer. That's right. Okay. Now let's go to the next part. Say it right.
4. Say it right. Practice asking questions about jobs. First, listen to the questions.
1. Where do you work? 2. What do you do? 3. Does he work here? 4. What does he do? 5. Is he a doctor? 6. Does she work here? 7. What does she do? 8. Is she a lawyer?
Now listen to the questions again and repeat each line.
1. Where do you work? Where do you work? 2. What do you do? What do you do? 3. Does he work here? Does he work here? 4. What does he do? What does he do? 5. Is he a doctor? Is he a doctor? 6. Does she work here? Does she work here? 7. What does she do? What does she do? 8. Is she a lawyer? Is she a lawyer?
Alright. Now exercise 5, your turn. One of the most productive exercises that we have, because we must produce, we must make conversations, based on what we learned until now. We must use our imagination in order to complete the conversations. It says Sam runs into his friend Judy, and they discover they work in the same neighborhood. Then Judy asks about Sam's sister, Katie. What is Judy saying? Act out the conversation. Use this information. Judy works across the street. Judy's address is 654 Union Street. Alright, are you ready? Let's review what we have done. Sam says, Judy. Judy says, Sam, do you work around here? Sam says, yes, I work on the corner. How about you? Judy says, I work across the street. By the way, how's your sister Katie? Sam says, she's fine. She has a new apartment. Judy says, oh really? Where does she live? Sam says, on Union Street. Judy says, really? Where on Union? Or where on Union Street? Sam says, at 654. Judy says, you're kidding. I live at 654 too. Or Judy can also say, you're kidding. That's my building too. Yeah. This is how we complete this exercise based on what we have learned in this lesson from beginning up to this point. Alright guys, now it's time to take a look at some grammar points that we have used in our lesson, but now we want to take a look at them more closely. Alright? So in the frame on the top we have noun plurals. Well, as you know, plural means more than one. Anything or any person, more than one thing or more than one person. So we know that by adding s to the nouns, most of the time, in 90% of cases, we can have plural forms. But there are some other points, there are some other cases in which the plural form or plural forms are irregular. So, but now we have s added to the noun and we have plural forms. In the box you can see accountant, then accountants, plural, by adding s. Then secretary, secretaries, nurse, nurses, waitress, waitresses. At the same time you can see some differences in spellings. Yeah, for accountant you can see there is no spelling change, only s is added to the noun. But in the second part, secretary, y is turned to I, then e and s are added to the noun. Why is it like this? Because before y we have a consonant. R is a consonant. Well, it's a letter of the alphabet that doesn't produce any sound, so we call it consonant. So in this case y is turned to I and es are added to make a plural form. Then nurse, here we can see nurses, s is added to it, nurses, right, with a little pronunciation change, z, nurses. Then waitresses, right, the end, in the end we have s for waitress and then es are added. So this is the case for nurse and waitress. es are added. So as you can see in the small box, yeah, it is declared. Anytime we have ch, sh, s, z or z or x at the end of the noun, es are added, yeah, e and s are added to make the plural form. We have a lot of nouns like this, like benches, dishes, and a lot more. Then another point in another box you can see is simple present affirmative statements. Affirmative means not negative, right? We have some examples. It says, I work in a hospital. We own a grocery store. They teach at Brooklyn College. He works in a hospital. He owns a grocery store. She teaches at Brooklyn College, right? All of these are affirmative, means not negative. Simply you can see, first we have the subject pronouns, I, we, they, he and she. Then we have verb, the base form of the verb, right? Different verbs. And after that we have the complement, yeah? Anything that can come to complete the sentence is a complement. Now exercise 1 tells us this. Make 2 general statements about each occupation. We have an example. Number 1, nurse, hospital. A nurse works in a hospital. Nurses work in hospitals. So hospital turns into plural form too. So one example with singular, a nurse, one person. Then we have plural form, nurses work in hospitals. So we make 2 different sentences, one in singular form and the other in plural form. Exercise 2 says, tell another student about the people at our nose and their families. Use the information under the pictures. Right on the top of the page we have some information about those people. Alright, now we have another point. It says simple present, yes, no, and information questions. Yes, no questions are the ones, the answers of which are with either yes or no. Yeah, we talked about it before. It says, do you work around here? Do they work around here? Does he live around here? Does she live around here? So the answer to each one of them could be with either yes, he does, or yes, she does, or no, he doesn't, or no, she doesn't. How do we make these questions? As you can see, with the help of the modal auxiliary do, right? So do helps us, the verb do helps us make question forms. The original sentence was, you work around here, or they work around here, in the box as we see. By putting the auxiliary verb do before the subject pronouns or before the subject, we have a question form. So you work around here becomes do you work around here, or they work around here turns into do they work around here. Now about he and she, we know for these 2 words, these 2 subject pronouns, we have does, right? Does he live around here? The original form, in fact affirmative form, was he lives around here. Does is added to it, so does he live around here, then S is omitted, is taken away from the verb. In the same way for she, it was she lives around here. Does is added, then it becomes does she live around here. S is dropped, yeah, taken away from the verb. Then information question, the questions according to which we must give some information, right? And it's done with the help of question words. So what do you do? What do they do? Where does he live? Where does she live? So to answer any of these, we must give some information. For example, what do you do? The answer is, I'm a teacher, right? Or what do they do? They are students. Then the next one, where does he live? He lives in New York. Where does she live? She lives in London, right? So each one of these is a piece of information. That's why we call these sort of questions information questions. Now, the next grammar point that we have is irregular verbs. Yeah, these are the verbs which do not have any regular forms like most of the verbs in English. For example, here we have these verbs in the box: have, do, go, has, does, goes. So, I have a sister, we do research, they go to school, he has a sister, he does research, she goes to school. When we look at the third person, you know, for he and she, we can see irregularity. Yeah, they do not follow the same rule. Yeah, any regular specific rule. Let's make a comparison. Instead of these verbs, imagine the verb play, right? When we say I play football, for he, we say he plays football. For she plays football. The verb is the same, only one S is added. Or for example, work. I work at school, right? He works at school. She works at school. So the verb is the same, only S is added. But in these cases, you can see have becomes has, do turns into does, and go turns into goes. ES is added, not only S, right? In this case, for go, we have ES, yeah, for the third person singular, right? Number 5, the instruction says, read the paragraphs below, then tell another student about each of these people. Number 1 says, my name's Christine Pappas. I go to high school and I have a job too. I work at Macy's department store. Now the answer, the beginning of a, not the complete answer, the beginning as an example. So Christine Pappas goes to high school. Yeah, we answer like this. The rest is up to you, and you are supposed to do these exercises on your own. Okay? Now it's time to take a look at our reading comprehension, which is also recorded. So we listen and read at the same time, and after that we answer the following exercises.
Lesson 31. How do you like your job? Here is a survey of people's opinions about their jobs. Listen as you read the article. Richard Daniels, clown.
I really enjoy my job. I like to laugh, and I love people, especially children. I can also travel a lot.
Pete Bennett, sanitation worker.
I don't really like my job, but what else can I do? I have a family, and we need the money.
Sandy Jackson, park ranger.
I love my job. I work outside most of the day. I like the outdoors a lot, so I feel I'm very lucky. I do a job I enjoy.
Aloyda Jaco, accountant.
Well, it's a job that I do well. It pays well, too, but sometimes I think I'd like to do something a little more exciting.
Manuel Rivas, veterinarian's assistant.
I like my job just fine. It's only a part-time job now, but I'd like to get more experience and make it a full-time job.
Clifford Hall, police officer.
Sometimes I like my job, and other times I hate it. My wife doesn't like it at all. She thinks it's dangerous. But the work is important.
All right, now the comprehension questions are: number 1, which people like their jobs? Number 2, which people aren't sure that they like their jobs? Number 3, which people don't like their jobs? Number 4, who's married according to the article? Number 5, who likes children according to the article?
Unit 5, Exercise 1. Complete the conversations. Choose A, B, or C. Some people are waiting for the bus. 1.
Here's my bus.
That's my bus, too.
Oh, where do you live?
2.
Does Joe have a roommate?
3.
Hi, Ed.
Hello, Ira. How are you?
Fine, thanks. And you?
Okay. Do you work around here?
4.
Who's that?
5.
Do you live around here?
Yes, in that building across the street.
Oh, really? What do you do?
6.
Where do you live?
On Gillette Road.
Oh, where on Gillette?
7.
What do you do?
I'm a nurse.
Do you work around here?
Yes, I do.
Oh? Where?
8.
Hi, Ira.
Hi, Marie.
Who's that?
Ira Pender. He lives across the street.
He's very handsome. Does he live alone?
Exercise 2. Match the picture with the conversation. Choose A or B. 1.
Who's that?
That's my friend Chris. He works at the hospital.
Oh, is he a nurse?
Yes, he is.
2.
What about you? What do you do?
I work at St. Anne's Hospital.
Are you a nurse?
No, I do research.
3.
Do you live alone?
No, I'm married now.
Congratulations.
4.
Where do you live?
On Post Street.
Really? Where on Post?
246.
Exercise 7. Listen to Jonathan's conversation with the barber. Then write, "That's right," "That's wrong," or "I don't know" for each statement. Part 1.
Next. And how are you today, sir?
Pretty good, thanks. And you?
Not bad. New in town?
Yes, we just moved here from Washington.
We? Are you married?
Yes, I am. My wife and I have 2 children, a son and a daughter.
Part 2.
Live around here?
Yes, right across the street.
In one of those new apartments?
Uh-huh, that's right.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a banker.
First National Bank?
No, the Second National. over on First Street.
What's your name, by the way?
Riley. Jonathan Riley.
Next. And how are you today, sir?
Pretty good, thanks. And you?
Not bad. New in town?
Yes. We just moved here from Washington.
We? Are you married?
Yes, I am. My wife and I have 2 children, a son and a daughter.
Live around here?
Yes, right across the street.
In one of those new apartments?
Uh-huh, that's right.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a banker.
First National Bank?
No, the Second National, over on First Street.
What's your name, by the way?
Riley. Jonathan Riley.
All right, now we have reading comprehension practice on your own. It says, Carolyn sees an advertisement for an office job in the New York Times and writes this letter. Here, by looking at the letter, we understand the rules of letter writing too. Yeah, you can see 2 addresses. The sender's address is on the top right corner of the letter, and the receiver's address is written on the top left side of the letter. And at the same time, you can see the date. The date is written on the top right corner under the sender's address, right? So Carolyn writes, Dear Mrs. Romand, I would like to apply for the position of receptionist. I read about the job in the New York Times. As you can see from my resume, I have previous experience in office work. My typing skills are good and I have a nice telephone manner. If you think I have the right qualifications for the position, I can come in any morning for an interview. Thank you. Sincerely, Caroline Duval. Now there is a comprehension exercise. In fact, for us, it says, read the advertisement and Caroline's letter, then choose A, B, or C. Number 1 is answered for us as an example. It says, Caroline is looking for a receptionist, a job, previous experience. So, as you can see, B is correct, a job. She is looking for a job, in fact. Now, take a look at other items and think about it for a minute or 2, then we check them together, all right? Okay, number 2. This job is in a hospital, a store, an office. What do you think? Yeah, that's right. It's about an office. It's an office job, of course, right? Because, she's going to be a receptionist. But how do we know this receptionist job is in an office, not in a store or in a hospital? Well, in the letter, as you can see, in the second paragraph, Caroline writes, I have previous experience in office work. Yeah, and also she talks about her typing skills and telephone manner. Now, this is the reason why. Number 3, Caroline read about the job in A, a letter, B, the newspaper, C, a book. What do you think? That's right, sure. In the newspaper. How do we know? Because it's written in the New York Times. New York Times is a newspaper, of course. Number 4. Carolyn's letter is to A. Mrs. Romand, B. Mr. Greenport, C. Ms. Duval. What do you think? Yeah, sure, it's clear, right? Because she writes, Dear Mrs. Romand. All right, A is correct. Number 5. In the letter, position means A. Interview, B. Typing skills, C. Job. What do you think? Yeah, sure, of course. It's about job, right. Number 6. Carolyn would like A. An interview, B. A resume, C. A telephone. That's right. Part A. Carolyn would like an interview. That's right. Now some additional exercises, yeah, for our reassurance. It says choose A or B, then write the conversations. We have an example, 1 question, 2 answers. Yeah, what do you do? 2 answers. I'm a carpenter. How do you do? Of course, the correct answer is I'm a carpenter. Yeah, because the question is about the job. Now let's take a look at the rest, and then we'll check them together. All right? Okay. Now number 2. How about you? 2 answers. Fine, thanks. I'm a nurse. What do you think? Sure, I'm a nurse. Yeah? Because the first question was about the job. What do you do? Then, how about you in part 2 is the continuation of the same subject, right? Okay, so I'm a nurse. Number 3. Who's that? 2 answers. That's St. Mary's Hospital. That's my wife. What do you think? Yeah, part B. That's my wife. Because the question is with who? About a person. Hospital is not a person. Number 4. What does your wife do? 2 answers. She works in a law office. He's a secretary. What do you think? Yeah, part A, of course. She works in a law office because the question is about your wife, yeah, about a woman. Part B is about a man. He is a secretary. Okay? Number 5. Do you live around here? 2 answers. I'm not sure. No, we don't. What do you think? Yeah, part B. No, we don't. Of course, we cannot say I'm not sure because it's crazy. How aren't we sure where we live, right? Number 6. And you, where do you live? 2 answers. I live near here. I have a roommate. What do you think? Yeah, that's right, part A. I live near here. Now in this part, it's a little bit different from other exercises because here in this part we should write the questions. We have the answers, but questions are missing. Number 1, of course, the answer is that's Michael Yates. So the answer makes us understand that the question should be about a person, right? About the identity of a person. So we say, who's that? Like, as you see. So think about the rest. Yeah, we'll check them together soon. All right. Now number 2. The answer is he's an engineer. What is the question? The question is, what does he do? Right. Okay. So number 3. The answer is no, I have a roommate. What do you think? What is the question? Yeah, that's right. So the question is, do you live alone? The answer is no, I have a roommate. Then it continues, and the answer is, I'm married now. What is the other question, do you think? The other question is, how about you? There are two people. How about you? I'm married now. Okay, number 4. The answer is she's a doctor. What is the question? Yeah, what does she do? Or what does your sister do? Or we can also say, what does your wife do? Right? She's a doctor. So, number 5. The answer is, I'm an engineer at Varian Electronics. What is the question? What do you do? That's right. That's right. So, number 6. The answer is, it's at 300 Valley Road. What is the question? Yeah. Where's your office? Yeah? Good. So, number 7. At UC Hospital. The question must be, where do you work? Okay. So number 8, the answer is, no, I'm a lab technician. What is the question? The question is, either are you a nurse or are you a doctor? Either of these is correct. Number 9, the answer is across the street. And the question is, where do you work? Or where do you live? Or we can say, where's your office? Right? Across the street. All of these questions can be correct. Alright folks, now a sort of writing exercise we have. It says, complete the letter, write the missing word in each blank. We have one example. It says, Dear Sue, how are you? And the rest is up to you. Yeah? So think about it a little, then we check them together. Okay, now, the next sentence. How is your new job? Or how's your new job as a contraction. I like Houston very much. My new apartment is great. It's, or it is, across from the International Coffee Shop. Only 6 blocks from my office. I do research at Ron Chemical Company. I also have a roommate now. Her name is Tina, and she's from Thailand. She goes to school in the day and works as a waitress at night. Well, I hope to see you soon. Love, Amy. P.S. A pilot lives next door to us. He is, or he's, very handsome. P.S. is written when we want to add something to our letter. And P.S. stands for postscript. Post means after, script means writing, yeah? It is a writing after writing. In fact, it's like that. It's a prefix, yeah? It's part of a word. It's not a complete word, yeah? It comes before another word as part of a word. It's different from posting something or post office. That's completely different. So a prefix is part of a word that comes before another word, right? Like this, postscript. Post comes before a script as part of a word. Alright, so that's it for today, and that's it for this lesson. I wish you a very happy and nice time until we meet next time. Alright, so have a good time. Bye.